Top 10 DC Universe Conspiracies. DC Funnies started during the 1930s, and throughout the last century, has developed into an amusement domain that traverses funnies, TV, activity, films, and quite much product. It's anything but a huge and intense fan base who will in general be both vigorously contributed and frank. Therefore, DC fans made an authentic treasury of fan speculations intended to clarify and associate each and every feature of DC coherence, regardless of how little or in any case effectively explainable. As valid as this is for the funnies and energized shows, it is particularly valid for the films. Since the DCEU has brought a portion of the world's most mainstream characters to the big screen in a under-reliable way, fans have willingly volunteered to fill in Warner Bros. Holes and assemble their extensions for them. Here are 10 DC fan hypotheses, tricks that, if valid, merit perusing. 10 Wonder Woman and the Native American God. Miracle Woman meets Chief. In Wonder Woman, the nominal Amazonian amasses a ragtag group of officers and spies to assist her with exploring war-stricken Europe, chiefly on the grounds that Captain America had effectively done that, and it appeared to be somewhat fun. One of the beautiful characters she gathers is a Native American nicknamed Chief. Boss later uncovers his genuine name as Nappy. Nappy is a divine being in Blackfoot folklore who formed the whole world. A demiurge. That bodes well, comparable to what the Christians would call God with a capital G, as the film's rival is the Greek lord of war Ares. Divine beings are not off the table, and Nappy's entertainer Eugene Brave Rock has affirmed he is for sure the Blackfoot god. 9. Lois Lane has psychic powers. Lois Lane looking for Superman, Man of Steel. Some fan speculations, however cunning and far-reaching, are basically fan expressions of remorse for producers' mix-ups. These huge tentpole motion pictures are made by advisory groups administering more councils, so it's regular that some congruity is lost and some incredulity neglects to be suspended. One such hypothesis is what sets that Lois Lane is herself a metahuman. The hypothesis expresses that in Batman vs. Superman, BVS, Lois Lane has superpowers of her own, most remarkably mystic forces. It's the best way to clarify, for instance, Superman saving her from the fear-mongers, from being pushed off the high rise, and from suffocating, kid. She truly is categorized, notwithstanding not monitoring any of these circumstances. She needed to have clairvoyantly made him aware of her trouble. That, and she heard a perishing Superman murmur to Batman to save Martha, despite the fact that she wasn't in the room. Furthermore, she thought about the kryptonite lance and how to utilize it regardless of nobody disclosing it to her. She might be a two-dimensional plot gadget, yet at any rate her psyche forces can clarify it. 8. Aquaman used whales to save Superman. Oil rig scene, Man of Steel, 2013, HD clip. In Man of Steel, while Clark Kent is out venturing to every part of the globe to develop the ideal despondency facial hair, he is compelled to save the group of a seaward oil rig after it bursts into flames and falls. After Clark holds up a bit of the apparatus so the specialists can get away, he falls in the sea underneath, oblivious. The grouping, coincidentally, incorporates a nearby on his sweat-soaked abs, however not an injection of him truly going in the water, on the grounds that Zack Snyder. Clark stirs in the water and sees two whales drift towards him. The following we know, he arises coastal. Once more, no clarification. Normally, because of, well, the presence of water, fans consider Aquaman. They hypothesize that he was watching and utilized his whale companions to give Clark a ride to shore. Aquaman himself, i.e., Jason Momoa, has affirmed that this hypothesis is valid. 7. Guards as DCEU canon. DCEU Watchmen hypothesis. Is Watchmen part of the DCEU? The 2019 finish of DC Funnies' Armageddon Clock arrangement standardly associates the DC Universe and the Watchmen universe. In the DCEU motion pictures, the two universes are in any event profoundly associated, as the planner of both is a similar individual, Zack Snyder. Furthermore, Snyder has been certain to remember Easter eggs for the movies that indicate the two universes being associated. Subsequently, a few fan speculations have emerged to formally build up an ordnance connection. For one, many have highlighted the counter-metahuman people in the DCEU films being possibly brought about by the activities of prior legends who were hazier, more imperfect, and neglected to forestall fiasco, i.e., the Watchmen. Another theory is that the Watchmen's transcendent Dr. Manhattan is pulling the DCEU's strings, resetting ordnance and setting up, curating the multiverse. The hypotheses are more conceivable than any other time, because of their source material sponsorship. 6. Wonder bribed Rotten Tomatoes. Is Rotten Tomatoes biased against Warner Brothers DC movies? Rather than standard and legend, this intrigue is about genuine basic responses. At the point when BVS came out, its survey scores on total locales like Rotten Tomatoes immediately dove. Numerous fans communicated their conviction that Marvel parent organization Disney took care of pundits to give the contending BVS a low score. This was a broadly coursed report and moved on Twitter for a bit. The issue is that the pattern was most vocally begun by screenwriter Max Landis, striking discussion magnet and purveyor of ineffectively composed drama. At the point when pundits stood up to Landis, he immediately backtracked, however the harm was finished. DC's fanbase, which now and again can be a tiny bit Ayn Rand-ish, seized on the thought as an approach to clarify why their film wasn't all around revered. All things considered, that is simpler than recognizing its glaring issues with composing, coordinating, acting, altering, tone, structure, interior rationale, pacing, and consistency. 5. Alfred only dreamt that Bruce survived. The Dark Knight Rises. Ending *** 1080p Pure HD *****. Christopher Nolan's Batman set of 3 finished with Batman apparently kicking the bucket in a conciliatory blast. He is grieved and remembered, and Gotham proceeds onward, apparently with a spandex-clad Joseph Gordon-Levitt sneaking its roofs. However, we're left with a treat. At the point when a lamenting Alfred visits his #1 bistro in Florence, Italy, he sees Bruce Wayne fit as a fiddle, having a pleasant outing with his accomplice in agonizing Selina Kyle, otherwise known as Catwoman. However, numerous fans think this is simply Alfred dreaming as an approach to adapt to the injury of Bruce's passing. Prior in the film, Alfred for sure said that he had a dream of discovering Bruce there, and furthermore, never disclosed to Bruce which bistro it was. Christopher Nolan has said that the succession isn't a fantasy. I said here that Nolan saying that was important for the fantasy, as well. That could hypothetically mean we're every one of the a piece of Alfred's fantasy, and I, for one, I'm alright with that. 4. The Joker is a Robin. Film theory. Is Suicide Squad's Joker actually Batman's boy wonder? At a certain point in BVS, we see a void, vandalized Robin suit and are left to accept that the Joker killed Robin. For comic fans, that normally raises Jason Todd, the subsequent Robin, who the Joker to be sure killed, thinking back to the 80s because of a peruser survey. In any case, Chief Zack Snyder said that the dead Robin was Richard, which means the principal Robin, Dick Grayson. This drove numerous to address if the Joker, the Jared Leto form, was himself, Jason Todd. It would clarify a portion of the Joker's tattoos, which give off an impression of being quills and birds. The J tattoo under his eye, which would mean Jason, rather than Joker, Batman's outrageous skepticism and world exhaustion, and Batman's line, 20 years in Gotham. What number of heroes are left? What number have remained as such? 3. Future Injustice. Batman v Superman. Dawn of Justice Ultimate Edition. Nightmare Scene, Shamefulness. In both BVS and Equity League, we see dreams of things to come, named by fans as nightmares, which is a lovely cool name. They are disheartening and show a tragic hellscape in which Superman has turned wickedness, and Batman needs to gather metahumans to remain against him. Fans have contemplated whether this is a potential arrangement for the famous Injustice storyline. In that funny arrangement, the Joker fools Superman into executing Lois Lane, which makes Supes winding into insidiousness and autocracy. That appears to be very near the dreams. Zack Snyder has said hesitantly that the Joker is here and they're liable for the nightmare future, which loans backing to the possibility that the nightmare future is the Injustice future. We may in any case have the option to see it work out if the #Snyderverse is ever restored. 2. World War II Never Happened. Wonder Woman, 2017, General Ludendorff, 720 PhD. Wonder Woman is odd in that, notwithstanding its hero and rival being characters from Greek legend, its setting is genuine, the bleeding edges of World War I, and a portion of its characters genuine. For this hypothesis, the character that matters most is Erich Ludendorff, an undeniable German general from that time. In the film, Wonder Woman wounds Ludendorff and slaughters him, yet, all things considered, Ludendorff endured World War I and proceeded to assume a significant part in transforming Germany into a fundamentalist realm. He participated in 2 endeavored upsets of the German government, called putsches, worked with the Nazi Party, and sustained enemy of Semitic ideologies. The hypothesis, which is a sensible presumption, says that since Wonder Woman murdered off Ludendorff in World War I, it kept him from applying his impact on German culture in the 20s and 30s, accordingly debilitating the Nazi reason. Eliminating this stuff from the Nazi machine may have made it lose sufficient steam to never start World War II. 1. Batman is in Arkham. Batman is a patient of Arkham. This is one of the most established comic book hypotheses there is, and however it very likely falls, it's anything but a pleasant conversation. It expresses that Bruce Wayne, not his scoundrels, is a detainee in Arkham Asylum. His failure to adapt to the injury of his parents' passing made him crazy, and he wound up a lasting prisoner at Arkham. The Batman persona is only one of Wayne's psychoses, and his reprobates truly his PCPs. Adding to the hypothesis is the way that a considerable lot of Batman's rebels are, indeed, specialists. Further, the miscreant Scarecrow, who can incite the most dread in Wayne with his substance infusions, is a real specialist. It is clever to envision the Batman comic closure eventually with him awakening in a restraint and acknowledging it's anything but a pipe dream. Normally, there would be riots in the roads.